In February 2026, the United States was amassing air and naval assets in the Middle East on a scale unseen since the 2003 invasion of Iraq. Yet, simultaneously, American and Iranian diplomats were in Oman negotiating the details of Iran's nuclear program. Behind the scenes, the U.S. and Israel had finalized plans for Operation Epic Fury. The objective was highly specific: a massive, surgical decapitation strike meant to neutralize Iran's top political and military leadership in a single coordinated blow. To pull this off, the coalition needed the element of total surprise. They intentionally leaked intelligence about U.S. F-22 deployments to secondary bases, drawing attention away from where the actual strike preparations were advancing. Israeli leadership ran a parallel deception. Generals took their official cars home, but quietly returned without them. To any Iranian satellite analysts looking from above, the bases appeared completely routine, with empty parking lots and unarmed warplanes. The misdirection worked perfectly. Believing a strike was not imminent, senior Iranian officials continued with their normal daily routines, holding large, in-person meetings. And that is exactly when the trap snapped shut. This visualization tracks Iran's internet on February 28th. The network abruptly collapses to 1% capacity, plunging the country into a blackout. With early warning networks paralyzed, aircraft moved in unopposed. 1,200 bombs hammered military bases and command centers across Tehran. Because the coalition had tracked those in-person gatherings, 3 separate meetings of regime officials were hit within 30 seconds of each other. The strikes eliminated the Minister of Defense, the military chief of staff, and the ultimate target, Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei. Within days, President Donald Trump addressed the public, claiming victory. He stated the war was effectively complete, asserting Iran had nothing left in a military sense. But the architects of Epic Fury had made a fatal calculation. They assumed that eliminating a head of state would instantly dismantle the military structure underneath. They ignored the fact that Iran had spent decades building a highly decentralized proxy network designed to survive exactly this kind of scenario. Iran's military didn't surrender. It automatically triggered Operation True Promise 4. The axis of resistance, spanning militias in Lebanon, Iraq, and Yemen, was structurally built to fight back, even if central communications from Tehran went completely dark. Within hours, hundreds of drones and missiles radiated outward from Iran, blanketing Israel and the Gulf. Bypassing traditional battlefields, the swarm specifically struck major U.S. installations: Al Udeid in Qatar, Ali al-Salam in Kuwait, and the Fifth Fleet headquarters in Bahrain. The rules of engagement entirely collapsed. Iranian missiles equipped with cluster munitions struck residential neighborhoods in Israeli cities. Meanwhile, in the Indian Ocean, a U.S. submarine torpedoed and sank an Iranian frigate, the first time an American sub had sunk a ship in active combat since World War II. The decapitation strike that was supposed to secure a quick victory had completely failed. Instead, it triggered an uncontrollable, multi-front asymmetric war across the Middle East. Realizing the Iranian military apparatus was too vast to eliminate from the air, the U.S. and Israel shifted their strategy. They stopped hunting generals and started trying to annihilate the country's economic lifelines. They launched massive strikes on the South Pars natural gas field and targeted military installations heavily guarding Karg Island, the export hub responsible for 90% of Iran's oil trade. Iran retaliated in kind. If their energy grid was going offline, they would ensure their neighbors did too. They launched drone and missile strikes against the massive Aramco oil refineries and targeted critical desalination plants, directly threatening the drinking water supply of U.S. allied Arab states. Watching the region spiral into chaos, traditional U.S. allies heavily distanced themselves. From European NATO members to Indo-Pacific partners like Japan and Australia, allied nations outright refused requests to join the military coalition, leaving the U.S. and Israel diplomatically isolated. What began as a targeted political strike had mutated. The mutual destruction of civilian and energy infrastructure transformed a localized dispute into an acute hazard for the entire global economy. The economic fallout ultimately converged on a single stretch of water, the Strait of Hormuz. This narrow channel serves as the ultimate geographic leverage point for global trade. Despite absorbing thousands of targeted airstrikes, Iran's decentralized naval forces successfully paralyzed the strait. They slowed traffic to a standstill, freezing 150 freight ships and oil tankers completely in place. This chart tracks the immediate macroeconomic shockwave. You can see the vertical spike in global oil prices the moment the strait was choked off. This event triggered the largest single disruption to global oil supply in recorded history. The situation devolved into a bizarre dual blockade. On one side, the U.S. Navy aggressively intercepted tankers to prevent anyone from reaching Iranian ports. On the other side, Iran restricted the Persian Gulf, threatening to attack any vessel attempting to pass through for everyone else. Operation Epic Fury successfully eliminated every high-value target on the coalition's list within the opening minutes. But as the dual blockade dragged into its second month, the limits of that success became clear. Precise intelligence and technological superiority had the power to dismantle a government, but they lacked the means to prevent a